Zitto, 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 parlami d'amore, io pure sto zitto, per me rispondo cuore. Zitto, 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 tieni della mente quello che ha già detto appassionatamente.
Ora in questa parte della Toscana la primavera sta per scoppiare. Quindi in questa puntata ci dedicheremo alla preparazione del giardino per la stagione che amo di più in assoluto in Italia, primavera. We begin in a place Guido's family have been buying pots his whole life. This is one of the oldest manufacturers of terracotta in all of Italy, all made by hand without machinery since 1848. To put this in perspective, my country of Australia officially became a nation in 1901, so that's 120 years, while this family have been making pots for 173 years.
Eccoci, un'altra avventura. Siamo a Montelupo Fiorentino e siamo venuti a cercare vasi per...
Why is this place? Why do you love this place?
Perché Montelupo è famosa storicamente per la ceramica e qui
sì?
fanno le terrecotte, le fanno nel forno a mano come le facevano un tempo, quindi
Sì.
è un posto dove...
Andiamo, ti seguo.
Andiamo.
Sono bellissimi. In the end, we tested one for some climbing roses against the main villa of the farm, and then came back a week later with the pickup truck to transport more for the 2-hour drive south. The great thing about this outlet is that they sell a lot of pots with small defects for amazing discounted prices, including this giant pot with the most beautiful feet in the shape of lions. Is anyone else out there as excited as I am by these feet? They were about €4 each, but I think they're so worth it, no? Bellissimo, no?
Dove a mordere? Allora, quello grosso dove lo mettiamo?
Sono bellissimi, no?
Sì.
Posso aiutare, amore?
Grande riflesso.
Buono. So we went for this walk and it was a beautiful day. We were just walking down that long road with the cypresses, and we came across this crumbling stone, well, what should we call it? Let's just call it a ruin. And this ruin is a part of the farm, which means that it would be eligible for the permit to restore and build. Quanti anni ha, secondo te?
Non lo so. Tanti.
Sì.
Perché è così da quando ci sono io, quindi.
Sarebbe un gran peccato distruggerlo, no?
Secondo me, però non so, il problema è che questa qui non c'ha le fondamenta, cioè casino facci per una casa, Una è piccolina.
Sì. Aia. Sono intrappolata.
Senta la prendere.
Cioè, quanto è bello quest'albero, no? È enorme. D'estate ci sono i fichi?
Sempre.
A settembre?
Ma non c'ha la porta per davvero?
Ah.
Dov'è la porta?
Ah no, di là c'è una porta. C'è un'entrata. Sì. No, da questo lato. A destra. Bello. And we walked up onto this hill. And we lay down in the grass. Ciao, Joe.
Ciao.
And Guido just looked at me and said, there's so many possibilities here. If somehow we could make it work financially, bit by bit, year by year, we could maybe restore all the old buildings on the farm, including the pigsties that have the best view on the whole property. And that got us thinking. We started talking about the idea of moving to the farm permanently. You might be saying, yes, of course, why wouldn't you? It's an incredible place. But we have to think about the pros and cons. So the cons are, first of all, this farm is very isolated, and I don't yet have my driving license. I left home at 17 and have always lived in places I could use a bicycle, so I've never really needed a car. Guido has an office job in Florence, and so he can't work remotely, so he would sort of have to try and work out, I don't know, it's a 2-hour drive, so he would have to maybe 2 days a week in Florence or something, I don't know. It would be complicated basically for him, for his work. We talked about how sometimes if you live somewhere that's beautiful but isolated, friends make more of an effort to come see you and stay over and spend more quality time together rather than just meeting up for a dinner at a restaurant in Florence. On the farm, there's room for friends to stay a whole weekend with their children, which Guido's friends tend to do a lot in summer because the farm is close to the beach. And there's also room for my sister or my parents to come visit potentially. Whereas where we're currently living, we don't have a spare room because it's become my editing studio. Both of us love the idea of bringing this farm back to life, growing all our own food, renovating these historic stone cottages slowly year by year, and kind of turning it into an agriturismo and inviting you guys to come stay. In some ways, Guido and I are very similar. We both have parents who are happily married. We both love an old-fashioned way of living. Yet, while I've been a nomad most of my life and moved country or city mostly alone, making a new life for myself in Japan, Spain, Positano, Byron Bay, Germany, London, Monaco, Melbourne, Florence and Rome, Guido has lived his whole life in Florence, so for him, a big change like this would take time to adjust to. We tend to balance each other out because he helps me as an introvert homebody to be more social and also a little less impulsive and to think about things before I jump in. And I guess I encourage him to dream and not be afraid of change. I'm an introvert, so I'm totally happy to be isolated, and if you give me a kitchen and a piece of blank paper or a camera, I can just occupy myself for months. However, Guido is a lot more social than me. All of his friends are up in Florence, so it is a bit harder for him to consider being really isolated in the countryside. But it's also where his family would spend holidays every summer, so like it has a lot of sentimental history for him. So he's obviously feels quite excited about the idea too. Oh, and the main reason, I forgot to say, the main reason is because during the construction of the chicken coop, we are thinking that it will just be a lot safer if we're on site and if we're there just making sure things are going smoothly, and Guido can be talking to all the builders and the workmen and making sure that they're working, and so that's going to be a lot safer if we're not trying to do it remotely. However, he is the one who would have to be commuting a couple of days a week or reorganizing his work that he has to do from an office in Florence, so it's really his decision. And there is also another big reason that I'll share with you next month. So yeah, a lot to consider, and it's the reason why we're going to devote a lot of time to improving the grounds and the area, the garden and everything, because summer is coming. We're sort of at the very beginning of spring. You can see all the flowers are just about to bloom.
Ora non ce ne entra più.
Rose per tutta la vita. Buongiorno.
Hello.
We are in a car piena di rose.
Perché te non riuscivi a smettere? Guarda bella quella, guarda bella quell'altra. No, ma ci vuole bianca, rosa, rossa, gialla.
A chi non piacciono le rose?
Sì, ma poi vanno annaffiate.
We will take care of it. Anyway, we are out of focus, hungry. Can you see me? Not really. We haven't had breakfast, and che ore sono? So it's almost 2 o'clock. So Guido might not be in the best spirits. Però...
Sì, ho fame e mal di schiena. Stasera vedo una ditta per capire se riesco a chiudere. Ancora non si sa, ma insomma vediamo. Ho avuto 5-6 preventivi e mi sono fatto un'idea su chi scegliere, vediamo se riusciamo a chiudere stasera.
Stasera?
Sì.
And so the winning construction company, you're basically choosing them, se ho capito bene,
sì.
Perché tu conosci la famiglia da una vita, no?
Hanno fatto già dei lavori lì da noi, sì. che anche più di 20 anni fa, e sono perfetti, quindi sicuramente lavorano molto bene. Sì. Vediamo se riusciamo a prendere un prezzo buono.
And so that means construction's beginning. So,
I don't know when if they can start immediately or not. Let's say we have all the permissions. I got them yesterday, the last ones from the surveyor. So yeah, we can start. Actually, yes. So we need the construction firm that's ready to start and money. That's and it. Money. Yeah, and then this afternoon the welder is coming to see about the pergola, no? Sì. Vediamo di chiudere anche quella. Sì. Quella di ferro la facciamo col fabbro sicuramente. Quell'altra di legno dovrebbe venire giù l'operaio dell'azienda di Firenze, gli do una mano io, si dovrebbe fare da noi.
Ah, sì.
Quella si fa da noi.
And then, so this afternoon, shall we dig holes for all these roses?
Yeah, that's the point. We are starting to. But shall we put a rose also on the pergola?
We're desperately trying to create shade because it gets so hot. So we're going to create. I have to think about this because in Italian it's pergola or pergolato, but in English the Australian pronunciation would be pergola. Pergola. Yeah, we're going to basically create some sort of shade for the main house, which we're going to do in wrought iron. So this is more or less where the wrought iron structure will provide shade, where we normally have lunch and dinners in summer. Last weekend we made the holes for these posts. If anyone has any thoughts on what we should put on top, bamboo or even a layer of plexiglass to make it waterproof, let me know in the comments.
Si scrive.
Va
bene la...
Quanto è alto? And then the wisteria that some of you may remember from my videos last spring, where you know the ones where I was, all the fairy tale ones where I was sewing my own dresses when we were locked here in quarantine. This beautiful purple wisteria that just covers the whole staircase, and so hopefully that will grow out over the.
Yeah, and now it's the moment because spring is approaching and the wisteria will explode in the next 2 months. So we need to close and build this pergola as soon as possible in order for the wisteria to climb on it.
E ora la domanda importante.
Che si mangia?
Cosa si mangia per pranzo?
I'm starving.
Anch'io. Buono.
Bada l'ombrina, il forno.
Capri, limone, olive, aglio, cipolla, pomodorini
E l'ombrina.
And then here we thought we'd create a wall of roses that will maybe even climb over the gate to reach the house.
Non farlo sotto la pioggia.
La pioggia non ha mai ammazzato nessuno. Guarda!
The idea is to try and plant a rose the closest possible to the gate. Unfortunately, there's a block here we can't move.
Però
So that's the closest.
it will go
And make it go like this.
up over here.
Up over here. Qui c'è la gronda verde. Bene.
Oh, it would be so beautiful. Benvenuta alla famiglia. Welcome to the family. Oh, it's lovely when it rains, isn't it?
Okay.
No, I think it's, look, the green really comes up, so it's so much more vivid. I love all types of weather here. Welcome to your new home. Oh, look, you already know where to go. Yes, up there. Sì, tira.
No, prima lo lego.
No, per capire quanto...
No, ma io lo lego qua e poi lo tiriamo da laggiù.
Sì, va bene. The next day we went to buy chestnut logs to build a timber pergola in front of the little cottage that is above the pigsties. This little place, which I haven't shown you yet, Guido actually started that renovation long before he met me, and so it's got the electricity, plumbing, it's all insulated, and all that we need to do now is furnish it, which is very exciting. So while the construction of the chicken coop is happening, you can come with me and we can get onto that fun part of furnishing the interior. And what we're doing right now is creating a pergola for that little cottage as well, because it's really got the most incredible view, but it really is exposed to the sun and the wind. And then but below that, on the hill, you might have seen in some of my drone shots, there are these pigsties, and they're just, oh my goodness, the most beautiful pigsties you could ever imagine. They're all this stone, and there's just olive trees, and again the incredible view. There's not enough budget to renovate them yet, but that is the future plan. While I was rolling out fresh dough for cannoli, Guido and Uzzo, who came down from Florence to give us a hand, started building the timber pergola. We planted wisteria and a grapevine. Can you imagine how spectacular it's going to be to sit under this canopy at a little table and look out to this?
Tieni un po' di zucchero, vai.
Buono.
Com'è? Buono?
Mmm.
Wow! You guys have done some amazing work, no? This is going to look great.
I hope so.
Ma ti piace veramente?
Mm-hmm. Guarda bello il grano.
Eh sì, bellissimo.
Oh.
Dovrei aiutarmi. And the final job of the week was the shutters. Around the buildings of the farm, there is this blue used in a lot of the windows and doors, but there's also brown and green aluminium. So to create a bit of cohesion, we decided to take down the shutters of the main house. Egisto came with his tractor to take them all to the barn and give them a fresh coat of paint. And this is why I love Italy, even when the permits and bureaucracy get frustrating, because we drove to the hardware store to buy the paint, and this little hilltop village is where the hardware store is. Can you believe it? I was so happy that I got home and made spicy salsiccia and cavolo nero pizza.
Oh my gosh.
Dai.
Can I?
Yes, mangia.
Ooh, do it.
I want it. How is it?
Bon. Bravissima. It's delicious.
Grazie.
Zitto, zitto, zitto.
Coming up next week, I show you all the delicious details of my homemade cannoli filled with orange zest, vanilla, choc chip, and pistachio ricotta. I share with you my plans for the bedroom and bathroom of the chicken coop, and we find out how the new blue shutters look on the house. I hope you will come back and join me. Thank you as always for watching, and if you can take a couple of seconds to give the video a thumbs up, I will be so happy, and I shall see you down in the comments. Alla prossima!
Vasame a così, in cielo sta scritto amore. Zitto, zitto, zitto. Sì, senza amore tuo, o stesso già morì, vasame a così, in cielo sta scritto amore. Zitto, zitto, zitto.